Welcome to Behind the Model, a show diving into the virtual world and exploring its stories, with the VTubers who lead the way. Many VTubers have legacies in content creation that date well beyond the virtual medium. Naya's is one of the longest. Having created Minecraft and Roblox roleplay videos for nearly a decade under a different moniker, VTubing opened up a new opportunity for Naya to explore, both with a new audience and their own identity and journey. Naya, welcome to Behind the Model.
Hello there. Like you said, hi. My name is Naya. I've been a long-time content creator for over a decade. VTuber for the past year and a half or 2 years or so. But yeah, like you said, I've been diving from different types of content pretty much ever since I started. I've been doing a lot of different things, and I'm just like really happy that you're having me on here.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on. I've heard so many great things from many people that I've spoken to. And I mean, your story's got a lot of meat there's a lot of meat in those bones because of, how long you've been kicking around. And I guess that leads us to the perfect first question of where did it all begin? Where did it all begin as player 2, as that old moniker?
Yeah, so for people who don't know, I used to go by a name called Player 2 backwards. So some people say Outrail, but it's OWTREYALP. I still actually upload on that channel as of recently, but we'll talk about that later. But how I started off is as simple as just a kid with a dream, pretty much. I used to watch a lot of YouTube back in like 2008, 2009, 2010 era, where it was a good escape for myself. Away from a lot, and I used to watch a bunch of different YouTubers at the time. One of my biggest inspirations was a person named CNanners, and honestly, like, I just looked at his stuff and I was like, why can't I do that? So I had a little bit of a journey at first. I couldn't start actually doing content creating right when I started because I went into the military. I was eight weeks in basic training in San Antonio, Texas, and then another 8 weeks in Biloxi, Mississippi for the Air Force. And then but I used my brand and my channel that it was a dream for me. And that's kind of how I got through it all too, because it was always just a thought in the back of my head. Like if I ever was like feeling down, I'd just start running down tons of ideas. My drill sergeant would definitely be angry at me for doing that, but I did it anyways. But it's my way to get around it all. But after the military, I just kind of kept going with it, and just tried to do different things. All of a sudden, I did a video series on a Dragon Ball mod in Minecraft, and that kind of started my whole content creation journey. So it was the first video that I ever got like over 100 views in the first day, and I was like, oh, I want to stick with it. And now here I am, 10 years later, under a completely different alias. Look a little different than I did 10 years ago, but, I've been enjoying the journey regardless.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking earlier, you mentioned in the military you just basically wrote down scripts and kept notes of like content ideas while you're in the military. Tell me a bit more about those and like what you were actually jotting down back then.
Okay, so if you want to have like oh man. All right, so the idea that I initially had, which I never actually did, but around this time, this is when Destiny 1 was out.
Okay.
I during Destiny 1 when it originally came out, there was literally no story as to why your character was there in the first place. Your character just kind of gets resurrected from the dead, and you kind of have to accept that. There's no real reason as to why, it's just your ghost kind of resed you. So I wanted to make a story around that, and like make my own like internal monologues between my character and and the ghost. And that's kind of how like a lot of my ideas first started. I eventually went away from just like that particular topic and started doing ideas as to like what different Minecraft stuff I wanted to do, and just like games in general that I really just wanted to I wanted to record or just play in general. And I just kept writing it down, like different ideas. Like I think I have like an entire page filled of like the beginnings of videos of like like your little slogan that you say at the beginning of every video. I have pages where I like was writing so many of those down, and it's like it was a great way for me to like uh, get away from a lot of the hardships that was in basic, since well basic training isn't really a walk in the park. So, and it was my first time away from my family, so I was really really distressed, and that was kind of a way that I was able to escape that. And then it somehow turned into a career. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. When did it kind of become evident that it could be a career for you? Like, when did you notice that the mesh between the content you were producing was making you happy and it was actually being successful enough that you could put yourself full-time into it?
That's a good question. I feel like I want to say that was around year 3 or 4. When I realized that I can actually take it as like a pretty good job. It was around my junior year of college where the end of my junior year of college where I initially put my foot down and I was like, I could possibly make something out of this. And a lot of people at the time were very against me. 2 people that were very against me that were close to me at the time. Well, one of them still is my mother. It took her a long time. It took me a long time to be like, oh yeah, this works. It took her a long time for her to be like, wow, stop playing video games, go get a real job. I'm like, mother, please. And then another one was my ex-girlfriend at the time. She really didn't think it was gonna pop off, and she was telling me to stop. And I eventually she broke up with me after 4.5 years being together, and I kind of was like, I wanted to do content creating kind of at first as like a I'll show you type deal, but then it turned into more than just that, where eventually I all of a sudden was getting connections with other YouTubers, and that particular summer all I did was just making 2 to 3 videos a day on that YouTube channel, and I kept doing that for 3-4 years after that. Like, yeah, it just kind of took off where I found the rhythm, I found the particular medium that I liked and was actually doing somewhat successful, and I just kind of kept going through that wave pretty much. Just kept going.
Spite's a pretty good motivator, huh?
You'd be surprised, yeah. Spite's really like, man, you want to get the blood pumping? Yeah, just prove someone wrong. It's crazy how that works sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. That's how. That's a very common story across content creators, is being like, oh, they said that I was playing video games for a job, and I wanted to prove them wrong. And that's like a very, like, I don't want to say it's like a popular trope, but it is like a very common theme.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's also with like a lot of other like out of the norm jobs. Then it's like besides like your typical 9-to-5 office jobs or something.
Oh, your creative pursuits.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like everyone's like, no, you can't do that. And you're like, watch me.
Yeah, watch me. I want to bring up an interesting point that you raised in that last answer, where you're like, you were creating videos like twice a day for 4 to 5 years, basically. That is a very different style of content creation than we see on the internet nowadays, where streaming is obviously a bigger thing, but in the YouTube space, the algorithm we've always spoken about pushes videos that are of longer length, and if people have a consistent upload schedule, that's what they like, and whether it's daily or monthly. How have you seen content creation change over your decade in...
Oh, it's been such a journey of the different type of content. Like before, when I first started doing YouTube full time, and what was working was I was doing 2 to 3 videos a day, uploaded at like specific times. They would all be face cam as well, and I would just upload them at the same exact time every single day, and it worked out. Some variation here and there, but usually it was the same times, because everybody wanted like a schedule. It's kind of like how YouTube pushed ads. Like as long as you're on like a constant uploading schedule at certain times every single day, you'll get pushed out more. Now, I mean, now it's way different compared to the stuff that I did before. Like I only did those videos and I called it a day. Now it's like, oh, you got to do like those videos, plus you got to do shorts, plus you got to do TikToks, Instagram posts, stream every single day, Twitter, make sure like keep going with it, post like I don't know, like every couple hours. There's so much more than to being a content creator than it was years ago. Like if you were to do the stuff that I did when I first started, you definitely would not be seen in any kind of algorithm, because all I did was hit the record button on a game, talk for like 15 minutes, end it, put some music to it, and upload it. You can't really do that anymore. Like YouTube really tries pushing those edited videos out more, and ones that like are typically longer or have like a lot of viewership in the first couple of minutes. You got to make sure your retention is up, and that wasn't a thing before. Now YouTube pushes like your retention and make sure that people stick on your videos longer, not just to look at it for the first 5 seconds, but you like stick there. And it's so much different than what it was years ago. And I feel like, for a content creator, you kind of have to do like 5 times as much work than you did like a decade ago, just because of how many people are out there now.
Yeah. And I guess that affected the way that you created content. Like you mentioned, it was just 15 minutes, record, upload. But you also did long-form roleplay content, like with the Minecraft servers and in Roblox. And those hour-long videos aren't necessarily the way to go anymore.
No. A lot of the stuff that I did years ago would just never work out now in today's YouTube. I mean, people still do the type of content I do, but you never see anybody pop off with it. They usually are kind of just like in their own little communities, and that's it. And YouTube won't push you to go any further than that. I loved doing my RP stuff in Minecraft. I used to make so many different characters, so much script writing, cinematography, editing, art pieces, like skin making. There was so much involved with it, but with the amount of time that you place into a single episode, it's very tough to justify like doing that with the amount of like exposure YouTube will give you with it. So it's like you have to like kind of justify it. Like if you want to do it, you could do it. Just know that it probably won't be nearly as successful as some of your favorite content creators used to do it years ago.
With that gradual change, how did that affect both the way that you approach the medium and also your love of content creation, like being forced to live up to the algorithm or have to do these little things to make sure that your videos get out there? Because I suspect things would have definitely changed when this becomes your life. This becomes the way you make money.
Correct, yeah. It changed a lot for me. On my original Player 2 channel, I kept doing that type of content, and everything just sunk. All of a sudden, I was like barely getting like 20% of the viewership that I used to like the previous year, and it really kind of burnt out my love for content creating for a while, because I'm one to like I've jumped to different mediums like crazy, but I usually like sticking to a certain like rhythm or a theme. So adjusting to whatever the algorithm or whatever the meta is when it comes to content creation, it's very tough for me to break out of that shell. So my first time breaking out of that, I really didn't know if content creating was going to be what I wanted to continue to do. Until I found out more about TikTok and VTubing, which kind of re-sparked everything.
Well, what a perfect segue, because I think, TikTok, VTubing, that heralds COVID era. So kind of what changed over COVID that inspired you to pursue content creation, but then also pursue VTubing and not just become Player 2, but be Naya?
A lot of it kind of happened. So during the COVID era, right when COVID started was probably when it was the lowest for my original channel, which is where I was like, do I even want to continue doing this? Because the world was all chaos. Nobody really knew what was going on, and I was feeling very down myself, just creative-wise, being stuck in a house, not being able to go outside. It was very, very just like it was just very tough for me to even like get up for the day for a while. However, during the COVID era, I found out like since at then you can't go outside, so it's time to learn things. I found out new mediums, and all of a sudden during that time too, that's when VTubing first kind of started taking off a little bit. I mean, people have heard of heard of them before, but like this is like around like like when Hololive first started popping off, and I was like, whoa, this is like really freaking cool because I don't know how to do art myself. I'm not a good artist. I've never learned how to draw really, but I really loved seeing all the art and like the live 2D and all it moving around, and it just looks so cool to me. And I got my first ever model, which is just a half body, but one thing that definitely was different for me was that all my models were girls, because when I first started doing content creating, and I was a cis male. I used to go by my birth name, and I used to go say that I was a guy all the time. During the COVID era, it really highlighted the points of which I started finding out more about myself, since that you have a lot more alone time, so a lot more to think about yourself. And I started to realize more about myself, where little tiny things that I had when I was younger started adding up, being like, wow, maybe you're trans, girl. Because like as when I was younger, I used to have like thoughts here and there, like, man, I wish I could dress up like a girl, but suppressed them because friends, family, whatever, grammar school drama kept you like that.
All the societal things.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. And I started adding everything up together. And in the course of my content creating, I noticed that like I always had like a guy profile picture. I always played as guy characters, even in like Minecraft or Roblox. All of a sudden it started changing, where I started playing as girl characters. My profile picture now had a girl mascot on it. And then I stopped using webcam because I started getting gender dysphoria. And it just started adding up over time to be like, oh girl, you're probably trans actually. And I had to basically figure that out relatively by myself. I mean, I had people who supported me during the time for it. My fiance, love her so much, she supported me through all of it. My best friend Mitch, who's also my roommate, supported me through it. But a lot of it was just internalized. I didn't really have any trans friends at the time that, I could go to and talk to about this. It was just whatever I saw online, and like I followed a couple trans streamers, and I figured it out kind of like that way. And then all of a sudden my content started relatively going towards me being trans than just being a cis man. And I really started exploring that a lot when I first got into TikTok, where I posted like little tiny Minecraft shorts, or people call it PNG tuber Minecraft shorts, because you use a PNG tuber model instead of a live 2D model.
Yep. And
I used to do them once or twice a day, and I used to just talk about me being a girl and me opening up over time. And that's that I did that for a while, and that really started to like figure out what I actually was and how I wanted to be for the rest of my life. And I came out as trans literally almost a year ago. It was the first day of Pride Month, June 2022. I found out that I was trans. I came out fully.
Yeah, and I guess you mentioned that it all kind of happened in VTubing. Like, it was maybe the signs were evident beforehand, but the transition happened because of the VTubing space and being absorbed in that space more so than your old community. How did that change of community open up that journey of exploration and acceptance for you?
It was very tough for me. During this time when I was figuring out more about myself, and I started doing TikTok creating, I kind of put myself away from my original community. I was very, very scared of what they would say about me, knowing that they knew me as my birth name and they knew me as a guy. If I started coming out as a girl to them, I was very, very scared of what that would come. And honestly, I figured it out that yeah, I was right to be scared of it, because during my when I first started doing TikTok, I really blew up in the course of like a month and a half, from like 2,000 followers to like 800,000 followers within weeks. And I put myself only, like, I talked about being trans, LGBTQ plus things, and having people, you know, feel accepted about themselves, be happy with themselves. And during this time too, I had a very, very, very low point in my life where I was falsely accused for a lot of things, just because I was presenting myself as a trans girl that just came out. And I was right to be scared about my old community, because a lot of my old community were the people that were spreading the misinformation, were the people that were saying all these bad things about me, and it really felt like an honest betrayal to myself. It was very tough for me to bounce back from that, having a loving community that used to love my videos all the time, to telling me to redacted. I won't say the words or anything. And it brought me to the lowest point of my life, pretty much. I had to go get therapy, lots of medicine for depression, anxiety. It was a lot to take in. And still to this day, I am still very, like, scared about that. Even though I am back to it and uploading on that, my original channel, every video I upload, I just, like, I don't even have to see the comments. I just know that they're there. And it's a weird feeling, having a community you had for a very long time kind of betray you in a sense, just because of how you identify.
Why did you go back?
The short answer is money. So that's the short answer. But the long answer is mostly because I kind of miss making the videos that I did years ago. Yes, I know at the beginning of this interview, I talked about how the videos that I used to make years ago won't help you grow or won't help you do nearly as well as they did before. But I missed making that type of content, and I just wanted to go back to it, but I wanted to be myself while doing it. Like, I didn't want to play the old me. I wanted to be the new me. And I really wanted to try to push it. It took me a long time too. I think it, like, really took me about a year of me really thinking about it and only uploading every once in a blue moon to really sit down and be like, yeah, I want to go back to it. And even to this day, I still struggle to upload on the channel consistently because I want to do daily. But there's a lot of times where either, you know, streaming for 8 hours a day, or you do another type of content, or you just have a down day. It's very tough for me to still to make content over there. But it's a lot. It's not, I wouldn't say it's easier, but, like, I'm used to it more now than I did like a year ago.
Did the reaction from your old community have you guarded when you started VTubing and interacting in the new space?
See, my old community didn't really know anything about VTubing at the time. You know, like, my community was based around anime. I didn't really see many people from my old community come over to this VTubing. It's kind of like I had, like, a fresh slate of building a brand new community. Eventually, especially during the TikTok phase, eventually a lot of my people from my old community found out about me and the fact that I did VTubing. Yet there are, like, the bad apples, but I don't want to not highlight the fact that there are a lot of good people that work from my old community too, that, like, really were like, go girl, like we believe in you and stuff. And it was like a mixed reaction, because like half of the community would be like, go for you girl, and the other half would be like what's wrong with you. And it was going up to the VTubing community, it's a lot different. I mean, for crying out, my voice is way different than I did when I used to have my did content years ago, because I've been feminizing my voice more often, and it's a lot different. Like, if people come from that type of content to my streams, it's a whole different atmosphere. Some people like it, some people aren't as fond of it, and honestly, that's okay in my opinion, as long as they respect it. Like, that's all I care about, really.
Let's put a positive spin on things. Let's look at the bright side of stuff.
Yeah.
How did the experience creating content on Player 2 way back when, regardless of your presentation, advantage you when you started in VTubing as the content boom and a lot of people came in with very little or no prior content creation experience, and you're like, hey, I've been doing this for 7 to 8 years now?
Having that prior knowledge definitely helped out when I first started doing VTubing, because it was like, like a lot of times when you first start out, some of the biggest hurdles are just hitting like hitting the the live button, hitting like tweets, uploading videos here and there. I feel like a lot of content creators or inspiring content creators have a very, very hard time getting over that first hurdle. And because I was already a content creator for many, many years, that hurdle didn't exist for me. It was just, I just smoothly went into it, and all of a sudden I like kept going like I've just been going my entire career pretty much. Obviously content was different, but like I had that motivation. Like I kind of had that idea as to what content creation was, compared to like what I dream content creation is like if I was first starting out as a VTuber. It definitely helped me a lot in that area.
Yeah. What does your VTuber community mean to you?
They mean the world, pretty much, honestly. I don't mean to get like very sappy about it, but they mean the world to me. My VTubing community is they literally are the reason why I get up every day, pretty much. Like, they're always there for me. They've been supporting me. I've had like people that have supported me through years, and they have been I could not thank them enough. Like, they're the reason why I'm able to do this anyways. Like, if they weren't there, I wouldn't be a VTuber. And like, they just mean the absolute world to me, and I wouldn't give them up for the world ever. Like, and it's one thing is like, with my old community, I understood like I kind of like slightly abandoned it. With this VTuber community, I could never see myself doing that. I love them so much.
How does it feel to rekindle the content creation spark after burning out a little bit and being able to relive that love that you had a decade ago?
It took a while, but it really felt like a second wind in a sense, because there were a lot of times where in content creator there's tons of ups and tons of downs. So a lot of those downs really made me realize like do I really want to continue doing this? And then when I was able to get into VTubing, it just re-sparked everything. It was almost like I just started off again, but like had all the prior knowledge of being a content creator already. It was like I was starting brand new slate, but I had all this knowledge that from my previous experiences, and it felt like such a great start when I first got back into everything. Like, from a humongous burnout phase to having the most fun in content creating I've ever had in my life. It felt amazing. And I like, every once in a while you still get the burnout here and there, but it's just so great getting back when you get that second wind and that second spark. There's very few feelings that are better.
And it's only the start. Like, you've only just really started on this journey. Like you mentioned, you came out 12 months ago. VTubing, is a very new thing for you. So how does that change your outlook on content creation now, a decade in, and where you can go through from here?
Yeah, I especially for VTubing, since like you said, I've only really came out a year ago, so and I really only say that I'm like a full-time VTuber as of a few months ago when I first debuted this model.
Mm.
And even though I've been doing VTubing for like a year and a half, I wouldn't say I was a full-time VTuber until a few months ago. It's been like it feels so I don't know, it's a weird feeling. There's a lot of like ideas that come to mind when it comes to content creating and being a VTuber. Like there's so many like variables out there and like just lots of things where I really didn't know where I was bringing my content, and if I were to go down a certain direction, where would that bring me? And there was a lot of like what ifs and things. And one thing about VTubing is that there are a lot of like things that I still don't know. And I'm still learning. Like even with a decade of knowledge in this, I still am learning every single day about this job. And it's just so much fun learning it. I which is so weird because back in school I didn't like learning, and now all of a sudden I love learning. It's weird how that works out.
It's almost like when you put it into something that you're passionate about, all of a sudden it comes together.
That's crazy.
News to me.
I know, weird. But now, like, I love learning. I love getting to know new people that are in the VTubing community or in the trans community or just people in general in this field, and being able to like interact with them. Like I've made so many awesome friends in like the 1 year I've been out as trans. Then I've had probably all of my time in content creating. And that's one thing I love about VTubing compared to what I used to do before. Before, I was pretty much a one-girl show. I didn't really talk to many people. I kind of just did my own thing, uploaded my videos, went to bed. That was it. Now, I'm just surrounded by amazing people. And I mean, hey, because of being a VTuber, I got to meet you. So it works out, you know?
You're too kind.
I mean it.
Well, I guess for one final question, we've spoken about the journey of, your content creation through Naya and all that. How has your online journey and this process of starting out VTubing kind of impacted the way that you see yourself in real life and the steps that you take towards finding more happiness and staving off the gender dysphoria there?
Being a VTuber, that really does help me out kind of in the like the IRL world too, seeing myself as a girl character, seeing myself as a personified version of me, and like looking at the screen right now and I see this model, it gives me so much serotonin. And seeing that, like if I ever like get like massive dysphoria, or like I really like question myself, because I still like everybody in the trans community questions themselves at least a few times, being like, am I actually this? And looking at my model, listening to myself, like my voice back in like clips and videos, it reminds me that I did make the right choice. So it's like, it's the little victories. Yeah, I have a long way to go in the IRL world in trans, since that I hopefully this year I can get on I started looking into HRT. And
Big congrats.
No, thank you. I'm excited. Lots to think about, but it's a really exciting like journey that I hope that I can start sometime this year. And it's honestly thanks to VTubing that I'm even considering this. So like I wouldn't give this up for anything.
Well, Naya, I think we can treat this interview as a little snapshot in time, 1 year in, where you can look back down the line when at your ideal self and be like, look at how far things have come, because it's already come so far. But you're doing great work, and I really, really am honored to tell your story. So thank you for coming on to Behind the Model.
Thank you so much for having me having me be able to tell my story. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Naya is the latest guest on my new series Behind the Model, diving into the stars who make VTubing the creative medium we love. If you're interested in more of Naya's story, you can read the accompanying article linked in the description. You can also find all of Naya's social media channels below. Also, as you can see, I'm no longer bouncing around as my PNG tuber self. Future episodes of Behind the Model will be recorded with this wonderful live 2D model of mine, designed, drawn, and rigged by my wonderful art parent Hira. I've loved the reception to the first few videos of this series, and I hope to release many more for you guys. Initially, it was only going to be one a fortnight, but I think I'll keep up the weekly schedule for a bit longer. If you have any feedback, as always, please leave it in the comments or hit me up on Twitter. Link is in the description. And while you're down there, I'd really appreciate you hitting like and subscribe. Yes, I know I'm shilling so soon for my YouTube account. I know. I have to do the plugs. Anyways, thanks a lot everyone, and I'll see you next time.